Duke as a measuring stick for UVA basketball shows us where the focus needs to be. You're not going to win a lot of games when the four guys that you play in the post get a total of 9 rebounds in 80 minutes of playing time. And that's what we saw Monday night from UVA basketball. Third-ranked Duke somehow only won by 18 with a 41-21 advantage on the boards. Ron Sanchez said after, they really just made a statement on the glass. So many second chance points. That was the factor. That was after the 80-62 win for Duke. At one point in the first half, these numbers looked like they were video game numbers that they were still off. A 12-1 rebound advantage early in this game was 24-8 Duke on the rebounds at halftime. The Blue Devils had more offensive rebounds, 8 than Virginia had defensive rebounds, 7 in the first 20 minutes. The 14-point halftime lead was almost entirely second chance points. Um, and I give credit to Duke there. They're a better, more talented team this year. And they had offensive rebounds and second chance points, which is a reflection of effort. So the better team had more effort. If you're gonna upset a good team, you got to have more effort than them. More from Sanchez. We knew we had some disadvantages and on the glass, but we thought we would do a much better job than we did. That was unacceptable. Our interior players have to do a much better job rebounding the basketball. Um, I don't want to overstate the next thing about the solid backcourt play from UVA because this Duke team's good. Profile of a national title contender. Ken Palm has them second on offense, fourth on defense nationally. That's the kind of thing that says you better make the Final Four and you should win the championship. I mean, that's just my view of that. Virginia's team in 2019 had a similar profile. That said, I thought the Virginia backcourt was just as good as their counterparts on the other side, saying something there. Duke freshman Con Canupul had 17 points, and so did Isaiah Evans, 17 points. The UVA kids went on the radar of the bevy of the UVA scouts in attendance. There was a whole row of them last night in JPJ behind me, a couple rows behind me. Um, but Andrew Rohde had 15 points and 5 assists. Data Ames had 15 points, 3 assists. Isaac McNeely, 14 points. Those guys more than held their own against the Duke backcourt. Sanchez here, I could not have asked for more from Andrew, from Day Day, or from IMAC. Those three guys showed up and they met the challenge and played well. The weakness was obviously up front. Start with Jacob Kofi, the guy we talked about in the preseason as looking like a surefire future NBA guy. He put up a double bagel. No points, no rebounds in 17 minutes. That is hard to do. And on top of the stunning lack of counting numbers, he was constantly eaten alive in one-on-one matchups with the Duke freshman Cooper Flagg. Now, obviously, Cooper Flagg is going to be the number one pick of the draft. He was trouble for the Olympic team last year in those scrimmages. Um, but that said, if Kofi thinks he's an NBA guy, that's your measure right there. He had 0 points and 0 boards. Duke coach John Shire kept running sets in the second half that got flagged the ball with space to operate against Kofi. And our freshman offered no resistance. Flag counting numbers for the night, 17 points, 14 boards. Um, he messed around and got a double-double, and I didn't think he even looked that good last night. But he was head and shoulders better than our guy Kofi. Blake Buchanan, the former four-star prep recruit, he's a sophomore, had 2 points and 3 boards in 21 minutes. This time last year, I was telling anybody who would listen that all Buchanan needed to do was hit the weight room, and he'd be really good this year. And because once he did, he got stronger. He was going to, be able to, secure those rebounds, fight in the post, that kind of thing. A year later, he's still not strong enough to play night in, night out in the ACC. Elijah Saunders, the team's second leading scorer, finished with 7 points. They were a mirage. He didn't score his first bucket until we were down 25 with less than 10 minutes to go in the game. He had 3 rebounds in 23 minutes. He has a tendency to do that, put up numbers when game's already over. It doesn't matter. The bright spot up front was Anthony Robinson. Continues to be the bright spot up front. Robinson started getting minutes when Saunders went down with a lower leg injury a couple weeks back and had to miss some games. And Robinson, all of a sudden, he's been a revelation. This game, he had 7 points and 3 boards in 19 minutes. A manly block. You saw it on ESPN all day on the dunk attempt by Flag, the poster dunk attempt by Flag. Turned out to be a reverse poster. In his last five, Robinson is averaging 16.8 minutes a game, 8.6 points, 4.2 rebounds. Holy crap, if we could get that every night from one of our bigs. And he's not even getting the minutes he should be getting. Thinking more minutes going forward. Um, Here's the quote from Sanchez. Anthony's improving, so his energizing plays in the second half. We needed more of that. Uh, Yeah, maybe give him more minutes. He only had 11 minutes in the second half. Kofi had 10 and didn't do anything with them. Here's the another quote from Sanchez that's a little frustrating to hear. Anthony's shortcoming right now is that he's young. You can't speed up Mother Nature. He's learning to be an impactful defender. We had a couple of miscommunications when he was on the floor. That's the time the game is a little too fast for him, but he's improving. He's getting better, and it's a great opportunity for him. Now, it might just be me, but I would take a miscommunication or two over a guy getting eaten alive and otherwise giving you literally nothing. And that's, again, that's Jacob Kofi. Make him earn his minutes. So what we learned last night about Virginia in that loss, and the game was over pretty early, unfortunately. Virginia tried to hang around, at least didn't get blown out entirely. I've been writing of late how I want to see this team stay together, get a chance to run it back next year. But after the measuring stick that you get playing a team that I think can very well cut down the nets in April, we see the holes that need to be addressed going forward. It's all in the front court. Buchanan is Jekyll and Hyde, and more often is Hyde than Jekyll. Um, Kofi is too soft on offense, too willing to settle for contested mid-range jumpers, doesn't fight around the rim. Going back 10 games now, he's averaging 5.3 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 19.8 minutes per game, 42% shooting. And then on D, he's nothing. He's a statue at best. Saunders is also soft on offense. He's shooting 50.4% in the paint, 58.7% at the rim, both registering the bottom third of all players nationally, not even just, the guys that are post players, and he's not much of a presence on defense. Assuming Sanchez is retained and don't shoot the messenger here, there is momentum in that direction. The front court needs immediate attention. I'm not saying you necessarily cut bait on any of those guys, but you'll have some open scholarships to play with. Tate Murray's a senior. Christian Bliss is clearly on his way out. I can't imagine TJ Power being around next year. If you keep the backcourt core of McNeely, Rhodey, and Ames together, get Elijah Gertrude back and healthy, plus Ishan Sharma, the freshman who's shown flashes of brilliance this year, in my opinion, you're set rotation-wise in the backcourt. I build my front court around Robinson, and whoever among Buchanan, Kofi, and Saunders decides to show up, step up, grow. If none of them do, there's the NIL transfer portal. And there's already three open scholarships to use in the form of the scholarships now being used by Murray, Bliss, and Power. And if any of those guys think that it's too hard to play the pack line and mover blocker, those guys, being the ones I mentioned, Buchanan, Kofi, and Saunders, then you have extra scholarships to use to try to find some guys to play in the front court for you. I'm getting ahead of myself there, I admit. Still 5 regular season games left for this team with road games at UNC and Wake, the next two, and then you have a home game with Clemson as the third of the those. I mean, you got tough games there. UNC is very much on the periphery of the NCAA tournament bid race. Wake is probably in a good place. Clemson's very much in a good place. Um, so these 3 games are going to be tough, obviously, and 2 of them are on the road. Clemson at home doesn't matter where you play in them right now; they're playing so well. You got to put this one with Duke in the rear view and get back out there and win some games down the stretch. Sanchez was asked what he needs to do to get his team's attention and do that. He says, I just got to make sure I deliver the right message to the guys, which is that we are playing good basketball. We didn't play it last night. He said we didn't play it tonight. But that doesn't take away from the good basketball that we've been playing. We have to understand that. We have to recognize the things that we did well, celebrate those, identify the things that we did poorly, attack those immediately, and then prepare for the next opponent. That's what you got to do. You got to, Duke is more talented. You know, it's a team built to win a championship this year. This Virginia team, unfortunately, is not. It's building for the future, and I think you take that to heart and see if you can get back out there this weekend and give UNC a run down in Chapel Hill.